what I'll circle it to, and he did score last night, a great play by Galchenyuk, but I will circle it to Tavares. Like, I think JT is the X factor in this, in the way that if he's producing, it's not about playing well. He's always, JT is good enough of a player that he's always kind of playing well, but it's about actually producing. If he's producing at the rate that we expect him to, which is as a player who makes $11 million, which, okay, let's throw a number out there. What is there? That's 30 to 40 goals and 80 points. If he's at that clip and he gives us the two-headed monster at center, that's when we're going to destroy teams. But if he's just playing well, like his talent will let him, even when the puck's not going in for him, I think we run into these situations when we have a lot of the puck, chances, outskating other teams. The puck's always in their end, but we're losing or we're winning a game that's a lot closer than it should be. And it's frustrating. And to me, it's very, very scary. And it's things like this that you try not to get too deep into, because you sometimes think that maybe it's just you get these feelings because you're watching your own team. So you see, Tampa wins close games, that they dominate this and that. But I feel like we've been talking about this all year, in the way that we're very happy with the results. We're very happy with the Leafs record, but we want to see more dominating performances by way of the actual fucking scoreboard. Like, you've shown us now you can dominate play. And we know this is an organization that prides itself on investing in metrics. Remember correctly, there was the announcement last year that MLSE is putting $50 million in the Toronto Maple Leafs advanced stats department. So, okay, we see that, and there's results that way, and this team is winning. But if you have 75% of a scoring chance share, or even go lower in today's NHL, if you go to the 60%, you should be winning games easily. And what I think we saw last night was how Edmonton can beat us. And we all know that. It's not surprising. We know if we play this team in the playoffs, and it's very likely, it will be a game. There'll be a lot of games like last night where the Leafs are going to have the puck. The Leafs top to bottom are a better team, but that star power can beat you. So there's that thing in me that's like, if there is a team that's going to beat us that we outplay, it's going to be them, because we very well could have lost last night. And it would have been
especially if you're giving them chances off the rush.
Exactly.
Right? Like, because the Leafs usually like to get aggressive with their D-men, they jump into the play, and then you give McDavid and Draisaitl like an odd man rush going the other way. It's trouble.
You're fucked. Yeah, exactly. And that's where it is scary and concerning to me. And I mean, it's funny now because the advanced stats guy would tell me, oh, it's just bad luck. It'll even out. The puck will start going in for them, both as a team, as far as the team goes, and as far as individuals go. Like you touched on Matthews. Matthews could have scored a hat trick last night again. But I'd be lying if I said I wasn't scared. Are you as scared as I am, Bruno?
Yeah. No,
are you the calm one in the family?
No, Lepore, I'm right there with you, man. I think you nailed it. I am scared because, like you brought up about Columbus last season, that was a series in the qualifying round that if you look at the advanced metrics and you were on moneypuck.com every game, the Leafs dominated that series just in terms of puck possession and shot attempts and things like that. But there were moments where they got too aggressive because, like I just mentioned, they love when their D-men jump into the play. Sheldon Keefe,
engage is the word. The D-men engage. Yeah.
He encourages the shit out of that. If there's an opportunity for Morgan Riley, Justin Hall, Jake Muzzin, TJ Brody, where they can create sort of an isolated odd man opportunity with a defenseman joining the play in the offensive zone, Sheldon Keefe gives them free rein. But sometimes that results in odd man rushes the other way. And when you're playing a team like Edmonton, they're going to kill you. When you have McDavid flying the other way and he's got eyes on the back of his head and he can make these insane cross ice passes, insane drop passes, that's a team that would scare me. And listen, we all know that the Leafs are better than Edmonton. We know that the Leafs are better than every team in the Canadian division, especially when it comes to the advanced metrics. And we know how much Kyle Dubas and the front office likes this stuff, right? And bases a lot of their decisions on these advanced metrics. But like you said, Lepore, at the end of the day, this team needs to fucking score goals.
Yeah.
And that's what it comes down to. And is it going to even out in the regular season? Like, is Austin Matthews going to finally score again? Yes, of course he's going to. This guy's getting like 4 or 5 high danger chances every game, it seems, right? He's hitting posts all the time. Like, that's going to turn around. But at the end of the day, this is going to come down to a 7-game playoff series. And it doesn't matter who they play. It's going to be concerning if we see the same thing. And guess what, Lepore? We are going to see the same thing. I don't care who the Leafs play in the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. They're going to dominate play.
Exactly.
In this Canadian division. We know that, all the nerds are going to be on Twitter. They're going to say, look, the Leafs dominated play in this game. They controlled 63% of the shot attempts. They had this many high danger scoring chances. Listen, Michael Lepore and I, we love the numbers. We love the advanced metrics. But at the end of the day, this team needs to produce. And I love that point that you made about John Tavares, because we know game in and game out, that first line with Matthews and Marner, they're getting all the attention. They're facing the best matchups on the other team. The other team's number 1 center or best defensive center and top defense pairing is always going up against those guys. And I really do think, Lepore, that a lot of it is going to come down to that second line with John Tavares and William Nylander, because their matchup is not nearly as difficult on a nightly basis. And sure, there are moments in the game where they get matched up against, the other team's top line. It happens at times, obviously, just because of the flow of the game. But for the most part, those guys need to start taking advantage of those opportunities. If John Tavares and William Nylander can find a little bit more consistency in their game and start scoring some more goals, that is just going to work wonders for this team, because we all know that Matthews and Marner are going to produce on a nightly basis. They're elite players. But if Tavares and Nylander can find a way, and listen, they're not going to produce at the same clip as Matthews and Marner, but if they can find a way to exploit some of those matchups and finish off just a few more of these scoring chances, then the Leafs are going to stop, chasing some of these games and being forced to win games in overtime against teams that they should be beating. I really think that's a great point you brought up with that second line.
Keefe had a presser a few days ago, and he was talking about how good Tavares has been defensively. And part of me was like, yeah, that's great, and I expect him to.
It's like, we don't care.
We don't fucking care. I want 35, 40 goals. Yeah. Like, we got to bury these teams. $11 million. And again, like, John's been good. Like, I was the first one earlier in the year to say, like, everyone was too hard on him. He was putting up points, and eventually would start going in for him, and the numbers would come. But to win, it's like to win, to advance, to go deep in the playoffs, you have to be playing above yourself almost. And he's not. He's not playing above himself, and that's what we're gonna have to see. To me, when we look back at this season and the playoff run the Leafs have, whether it's 1 round or 4 rounds, to me, the thing we're gonna circle to talk about will be John Tavares' performance based on how good it was, or how, I don't say how bad it was, but just how meh it was. And he was good, but he didn't bring it, for lack of better terminology, and trying my best not to sound cheesy.
No, I really think that's what it's going to come down to, because you look at any team over the last number of years that's made a deep playoff run, like, you need that secondary scoring. Like, of course you need your stars to play well in the playoffs. Like, that's a given. And I expect Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner to play well in the playoffs. They have a track record, especially Austin Matthews, of being pretty darn good in the playoffs. So it really is going to come down to that secondary scoring for the Leafs. And it's funny because I'm almost not even worried, Lepore, about like the third line anymore with like Hyman, Mikheyev, and Engvall, and even like, wherever Spezza's playing in the lineup, the Spezza, Thornton, and whoever line, right? I mean, I know the Leafs like to mix and match a lot. Like, I'm not even lately, worried. Actually. What's that? Sorry?
A lot lately. I find there's been a lot of mixing and matching lately. I don't know what Keefe's trying to figure out. And I guess Galchenyuk came in. And
he loves experimenting. Like, if he has a thought about putting someone on a different line and just trying to see if there's any chemistry there, like, he doesn't hesitate one bit.
You think it's because they just haven't been, because they've kind of fallen off where they started the season? He's trying to figure it out again, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? The Leafs kind of have like the luxury of trying to figure it out because, like we've said before, like, yes, it would be nice to win the Canadian division, but I don't think they really care. Like, even if they come second, like this team is going to be judged solely on how they perform in the playoffs. And yeah, like, getting back to my point about like the bottom 6, like, I'm not even really worried about the bottom 6 because I like the way that they've played for the most part throughout the season. Like, you look at Jason Spezza, the guy's playing less than 11 minutes a game, and he's got like 20 points this year. And
more 5-on-5 points than Tavares.
It's unbelievable, man.
Yeah.
And sure, is the bottom six going to produce, at the clip they're producing now come playoff time? Probably not, but it's going to come down to that second line with Tavares and Nylander. Like, they're going to have to find a way to produce. And if they can, and the Leafs have that two-headed attack down the middle of Tavares and Matthews, that is just going to be an absolute nightmare for any team to deal with. Never mind the teams in the Canadian division. That's going to be a nightmare to deal with if you're Tampa Bay, if you're Colorado, if you're Vegas. The Leafs on paper stack up against any of those teams. So, no, I'm right there with you, Lepore. I think that's going to be of the utmost importance come playoff time